And thank you for joining the Time Is Always Now podcast. My name is Terence Young. I'm your host for the podcast today. This podcast is dedicated to helping people get past their excuses, helping people stop saying, you know what, I'm going to do this someday or one day, helping people realize that the only time we actually have is right now. This is about helping people harness the power in the eternal moment of now. And when we do that, we recognize this is where our power lies. This is where we can make a change for our lives for the better, right here in this moment. That's what this podcast is all about. So thank you for joining me. And if you want to donate to the cause, by all means you can. Just go to my website. It's terenceyoungnow.com, and you can donate there, and I appreciate that. So thank you in advance for allowing me to continue to do what I do. This is my passion. My passion is to help people find their passion and start living it right now. That's why I create the courses that I do. That's why I do the speaking engagements that I do. I just believe it's so important for people to not be waiting to move forward in their lives. Our lives are going to go by like that. So it's so important that we move forward now in our dreams and our goals and our ambitions, and not wait for all the circumstances to be right. So I'm excited about today's podcast. Just a quick update. The course for creating an engaging speech is coming along well. I'm finishing up the videos more than likely this week. I expect to have the course up and running by September 1st. So I'm excited about that. And if you want to know, you can go to my website, terenceyoungnow.com, and you can get information by going to the Coming Soon page, input your email address, and when the course is ready, you'll be the first to know. So keep that in mind. My other course about finding your passion is already up and running. So if you're interested in that one, you can go to my website again and get information. You can sign up for that class and take it. It will help you find your passion, which is so important. Everyone needs to find that thing that sets them on fire, that brings them alive, right? Everyone, just because you're living, just because you're alive doesn't mean you're living. And it's so important that you find that passion, because that's how you start living life and not just existing here, which a lot of people are doing. So I'm excited about that. So go ahead, go to that webpage, tell people about it too. Encourage other people. If they want to know about it, that's how they find out. That's how they can take the course. So good stuff there. So this week I was talking on Facebook about going with the flow of life. And I wanted to share in the podcast today what I shared on Facebook Live as well. It's about going with the vibration of life, going with the flow, the ups and downs, the ebbs of how life goes. And I'm going to share 3 tips on how we can do that. And I also want to share, before we go into those, is this, because some people get this confused. What does going with the flow mean? I'm going to share with you what it doesn't mean and what it does mean. Okay? So going with the flow. The number one key is this. Here's what it does not mean. Doing nothing. It does not mean doing nothing. Okay? When I talk about going with the flow, some people get that confused. I had a conversation with a friend of mine one time. It was a young kid, and we worked together. And I asked him, hey, what do you want to do with your life going forward? He was in his 20s. He said, whichever way the wind blows. And I said, no, that's not the way life works. It's not which way the wind blows, it's how you want to take it. I mean, there's a great quote by Jim Rohn that said, the direction of your life is not controlled by the blowing of the winds, it's controlled by the setting of your sail. How you set your sail. It doesn't matter which way the wind is blowing. It's which direction do you want to go. You start moving intently in that direction, okay? That's what I'm talking about when I talked about going with the flow. It's not about just letting things happen. You go through things and see how they're happening, but you have an idea of the direction you want to go, and you start going in that direction. There's always an example. A skilled sailor can bring the ship in, bring that sailboat in, regardless of which way the wind is blowing. So absolutely, it does not mean not doing anything. It means having a direction in life, moving in that direction, and accepting things as they are as you navigate through them. What it does mean is accepting what is as you direct your life. What it means is living the serenity prayer. And I'll share with you what that means. It means that things happen, right? Things are going to happen. You have your plans, but that doesn't mean you can control everything that happens. Matter of fact, we can't control much of what happens, right? We can only control how we react to what happens, and that is the key to the focus. That is the key to living in the flow. Changing how you react to what happens, right? So living the serenity prayer. That's what it means when you say go by the flow. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. There's a whole lot we can't change. The courage to change the things I can. There's the action part. There's the direction part. There's the part where you say you're going to do what you can do. Right? The courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom, the knowledge to say, hey, I know the difference between those two. It's so important. So important. So going with the flow of life, I'm going to give you 3 tips. 3 tips you can do to incorporate this into your life to make it more tangible for you. The first thing is going to be this. You got to be able to change your perspective. I was already about to touch on this anyway. You got to be able to change your perspective, how you see things, because nothing has meaning except the meaning that we give it. Very powerful quote. I'm going to say that one again. Nothing has meaning except the meaning that we give it. So it doesn't matter what happens, it's what we choose to make it mean to us. Have you ever had something happen to you before, and you, at the time it happened, in that moment of now, you thought it was a horrible thing, it was very upsetting, or whatever the case may be, and you ever look back on it 5 years later, and you say, wow, that was actually a positive thing. What happened there is in the time frame, you recognize the meaning of it. I'll say you recognize it, or you could say you created the meaning of it. The meaning of it changed for you. And this is the thing, we don't have to wait 5 years to do it. We can do it like that. We can change our perspective at any time. If you want to go with the flow of life, that's why this is so important, being able to change your perspective. When something happens, because there's going to be ebbs in life. It's going to be up and down and up and down. You're going to have some great times, you're going to have some low times. But if you understand that you control the meaning of what happens when you're in one of those low times, which we're all going to be in, you can change how you perceive it. That's the first key to living in the flow. Change the way you see things. Oh, my car broke down. Well, is it a bad thing or not? That happened to me this week. My car literally had problems with the braking system, the anti-lock brake system or whatever. All these lights popped on, but I ended up taking it to the dealer. True story, I took it to Pep Boys. Pep Boys said, we're not going to charge you anything. They ran the scan. They said, you probably got some of the computer problems going on. We're going to just take the car, take it to the dealer. That's your best bet. So that's the first thing that happened right there. I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. They didn't charge me at all, just told me to take it to the dealer. So now I'm taking it to the dealer, but for most people, you don't really want to take your car to the dealer. At least for me, I didn't. But I took it there. Sure enough, the dealer worked on it, and they looked at it, fixed some other stuff that needed to be going on that was under the extended warranty, and they fixed this problem. And I think they don't even know they fixed it. But was it bad that it happened? No, as I was going through it, I was quickly figuring out. I was like, nope, this is exactly what should happen. It should happen this way. I'm going to take it to the dealer. They're going to get it fixed. It's going to come back. It's going to be okay. I changed my perspective very quickly. I'm not going to sit here and say when it first happened, was I not concerned? Was I not worried? Of course I was. We're all human. The ability to change your perspective as quickly as possible is what allows you to go with the flow of life. Some people would have sat with their car with all those lights blinking on and off for weeks or months or years. Which one are you? Or can you change it in minutes and say, I'm changing my perspective. I'm going with the flow of life. The flow of life is directing me here. The flow of life told me, take your car to the dealership, literally from a man at Pep Boys. He said, take it to the dealer, man. They need to see this. They need to work with this. The universe pushed me in that direction. We must be able to look for the clues that the universe is giving us. That's how you live with the flow. The clues the universe is giving us, and then we're living in collaboration with the universe. Here's the thing, we must understand that it's always working for our good if we live in collaboration and we're not fighting against or railing against the flow of the universe. It's not a fight. We're in this together. We're working with the universe. Step number 1, change your perspective. Yes, it may take a little while, but change your perspective, which leads me right into step number 2. Give yourself the time to feel the feelings. Yes. Right? I probably took, I don't know, probably took me 30 minutes. But I've been working on this. I'm getting better. Right? But 30 minutes, that's what it took me to figure out that I'm going to be upset about this car and how we're moving forward. But here's step number 2. Give yourself the time to feel the feelings. Meaning you're going to get upset. You're going to feel sad or angry or worried. All of these things are going to happen. Right? When something happens in the universe, in your life, with your loved ones, whatever the case may be. Allow yourself to do that because you're human. We're all human. We're supposed to feel feelings. Let yourself go through the process of grieving or whatever the case may be. But once you're done with that, make a conscious decision to get up and change your direction, to change your attitude, to change the way you're perceiving this and move forward. I'll say that again. Allow yourself to feel the feelings. That's normal. That's natural. Get upset. Get mad. Bang your fist against the wall. Whatever you need to do. Say some curse words. Whatever works for you. Scream. But when you're done, make a conscious decision. A conscious decision that you are done with that feeling and you're moving on. Remember, we control our feelings. Not someone else. Not an outside circumstance. We control our feelings. Meditation is good to get you into that zone where you can start consciously making a new choice, consciously making a new decision on which way you're going to do, consciously changing your perspective. Yes. Step number 1, change your perspective. Step number 2, give yourself the time to feel the feelings. Once you're able to do that, then move, then change direction, then consciously make a new decision. This is how you live within the flow. I felt the feelings when when those lights popped on in the car, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what's this gonna be? Is it gonna be a horrible, $5,000 repair bill? What's it gonna be? I felt that way for about 30 minutes. And then I said, I'm making a conscious decision to choose again, and this is gonna be working in my favor. And let's move with that. And then what happens is when you change your vibration, you are sending that vibration out into the universe. You are sending it out into the universe so other people are catching that vibration. They're catching that good vibration from you. And then the universe says, oh, well, this is, you're seeing this as positive. You're positive. You're in joy. So I'm going to give you more joy. I'm going to give you more positivity. That's the way the universe works. We're talking the law of attraction now. Yes. Go with the flow of life. Be able to change your perspective. Yes. And definitely give yourself time to feel the feelings before making a conscious decision to move forward with what the next thing is for you to do. Change that vibration. Third thing you're going to do is this. You got to live in the present moment. You got to live in the present moment. You know the time is always now, right? That's all I talk about. I live this. I don't just speak it. I live it. This is who I am because I know that people are waiting on someday and one day. Here's the thing. If you want to go with the flow, if you live in the present moment, you'll recognize something. It's easy to live in the present moment when everything's great, right? It's easy to be happy when everything's great. It's easy to be positive when everything is great. Anyone can do that. It's when things aren't going good. It's when your marriage isn't going well, the relationship isn't going well. It's when your bills aren't paid, when you lost your job. That's when it's hard to be positive. That's when it's hard to live in the now. That's when you start thinking about the past and saying, oh, I'm blaming somebody else. Somebody else's fault. If this would have happened, this wouldn't have happened. If we live in the present moment, the eternal moment of now, we recognize something. We may not have everything we want, but we have everything we need. You are provided for all the time. You've always made it through. No matter what has happened in your life, you've always made it through. I already know it. I don't care what you've been through. You made it through. You know why? Because you're here. Of course you made it through. God is always on time. Spirit is always on time. The universe is always on time. What our job is to recognize the present moment when we are well taken care of. Everything, all our needs are met. All our needs are met. If you live in the present moment, it's easy to live in the flow and go with the flow of the universe for your life. Just live in the flow. Live in it. Enjoy. This life is meant to be a journey, and it's meant to be joyful and happy. These experiences are up to us. We bring that to life. Life doesn't bring it to us. We bring the joy to life. That's what it's about. So if you want to live in the flow of life and learn how to go with the flow, be able to change your perspective, be able to change what something means when it happens. It doesn't matter what it is. We control the meaning of what happens. Nothing has a meaning until we give it a meaning, right? Give yourself, number 2, give yourself the time to feel the feelings. You're human, so you're going to have feelings. You're going to be upset. You're going to be happy too, happy and joy. All these things happen, but they change, right? They say this too shall pass. It will. So know that when you're feeling the anger and the joy, or the anger and the sadness or whatever, it's going to pass too. Let yourself feel the feelings and then make a conscious decision to change. And then live in the present moment and recognize in this moment, in this very moment of now, nothing is wrong. Nothing is not taken care of. I am well taken care of. Yes, in this present moment, live in the now continuously. That's not easy to do. But when you get out of the present moment, just bring yourself back to it as quickly as possible. If you can do those things, you can learn how to live within the flow of the universe. That will change your experience of life. And then you can unequivocally say, I own the now and I have won. I appreciate you joining me for this episode of the Time Is Always Now podcast. Thank you again for joining me. Remember to share this with your friends, with your family. Share it on social media, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're on social media. I want everyone to get these messages. More people need to know that there's no other time than right now to do something to improve their lives. So thank you for sharing it. This is TY. I am signing off. Remember, the time is always now.